you. Senator Cash or Senator McGrath, who is seeking the call.
Oh, can I just confirm, in relation, Senator Wong, to the line of questioning that I raised, and you said that you'd provide us with a briefing, I'm happy to accept...
Sorry, which line of questioning is that, Senator Cash?
Actually, it's a matter for PM&C. It's a matter for DFAT.
We were hoping, yeah, the questions I want to ask go to the Prime Minister and his knowledge.
No.
Which base? No, I'm not going to ask them here.
Yeah.
Are we able to be briefed?
Well, your colleagues have been briefed on this matter. So I'm happy to provide more. If you weren't asked by your colleagues to come to consular briefings, I'm happy to...
And that's fine. Can I have that briefing before Thursday, though? That would be my only request.
If we can, we provide an opposition consular briefing. As a matter of course, a number of your colleagues went. Obviously, you weren't advised. That's a matter for your team. But we deal with the Shadow Minister.
No, and I understand that. As I said, the questions I have, again, go to the Prime Minister's knowledge. I'm prepared not to ask them here.
I won't be answering them here.
No, that's not based on your advice, and I've said that to you. What I'm asking, though, is, am I able to have the briefing? It won't take long, I'm assuming. There's only about 10 questions. It doesn't need to be from you. It could come from your office. We could do it office to office.
We'll see what we can do, Senator.
Thank you very much. I do now have some more questions, though.
While you turn to the questions that you want to turn to next, I just wanted to revisit the issue of the tabling of the letter. And so I undertook to source its provenance in terms of it having been directed to the Health Minister's office. They indicated that the covering email attached to that letter, and not the letter itself, included a request that said, "We stipulate a strict non-disclosure of all names involved due to the risk of reprisals. The enclosed evidence is also confidential and not for public dissemination to avoid defamation or libel." And so on that basis, I don't think it's appropriate that the document be tabled. I'm sure the signatories to it may have distributed it themselves, but they have.
I think you gave the name.
No.
The name of the woman, but not the additional names.
No.
We have tabled it, but they're on the names.
Okay. No, but even the letter itself. Okay. Senator Cash?
You happy for me to move on to...
Sorry, I'm just not clear. So the letter's not being tabled, even though it's been mentioned. I just want to raise, I'm just seriously concerned that if a piece of correspondence goes and people ask for it, that it's potentially liable in their view, and a series of people ask for it not to be handed up, and it was handed up here with several attempts to have it tabled, is just beyond the pale. It is a breach of faith with those people.
Well,
and I find that absolutely
it's
absolutely
been previously
appalling.
tabled in health estimates in any event.
So you got away with it. Someone got away with it in the health estimates. Yeah.
We de-identified it, the one without the names, and had permission from the person to table.
All right.
Contrary,
It was deliberately de-identified, correct, for that exact reason.
contrary
And
to
as I said,
instructions
it has already been tabled previously in health estimates.
Yeah, contrary to the instructions on the email. It's
Thank you,
disgusting.
Senators. And Senator Cash, did you want to return to your question?
I do. Senator Patterson had asked a series of questions in relation to a camera in the sensitive compartment information facility when the Prime Minister was speaking with President Trump. He asked it in Home Affairs and he's actually been directed to Prime Minister and Cabinet.
Sorry, what was... this about?
The Prime Minister issued a tweet. This morning I had a great conversation with the President and in it there was a telephone. So we had some questions in relation to the telephone actually being in the Parliament House briefing room sensitive compartmented information facility. So, as I said, on the 11th of February 2025, the Prime Minister posted a photo on his Twitter X account showing the Prime Minister in front of a phone talking to President Trump. Can you confirm that this photo was taken here in the PHBR SCIF at Parliament House?
Sorry, Senator, I'm not aware of the issue. I'll need to check with the team to see if we're aware of any advice provided.
Yep. Whilst you're going through that, the photo appears to depict a classified phone system. Can you confirm the call was made on a classified line?
We'll need to check, Senator, sorry.
Yep. So, as you'd be aware, typically recording devices such as a camera are not permitted in secure areas, such as the sensitive compartmented information facility. Is that correct, Mr Hare?
That's normally the case, Senator, yes.
Sorry?
Yes, Senator, that's normally the case.
That's normally the case, sorry, thank you. And therefore, bringing in such a device without prior approval, would that constitute a serious security breach?
I'd need to check and see whether there was prior approval, Senator. I don't want to speculate on what conversations occurred or what advice was provided.
Can I ask, who manages the approval processes for bringing in these kinds of devices to this particular room?
If it's the room that I believe it to be, that would be Department of Prime Minister and Cabinet would have the responsibility for that room.
Okay.
Is my understanding. I'll check that, but that's my understanding.
Is there anyone in this room who has knowledge of the phone call and the photograph that was taken and then tweeted?
Can I take this on notice, Senator? I don't have all the information on this.
That's okay. I'll continue then asking Mr Hare questions because he's just said it's the Department of Prime Minister and Cabinet who manage the approval processes. So, Mr Hare, did Prime Minister and Cabinet or the PMO seek formal approval to bring a recording device into the room known as the SCIF?
I've just been provided with some advice, Senator.
Yep.
I'm advised that the call happened in the side room, not the Man NSC room, and there was a specific request and approval of a photo. I've also been provided with photos, a photo of Mr Morrison engaging in an MCN, also in a secure facility that was published.
Yep. The question wasn't about Mr Morrison, the question was about Mr Albanese
talking about consistency
and whether or not the approval processes had been gone through.
The advice I have is that
whether or not the approval processes had been gone through.
That's what I just said.
Right.
Yeah.
So what was the process for approval?
I don't know. I'd have to take that on notice.
Okay.
Yeah.
On what date was approval sought and then granted?
Again, Senator, we'll need to take that on notice.
Okay. And from whom was approval sought?
Again, Senator, I'll need to check and see which officer.
Okay. Was the camera a government-issued device?
Again, Senator, I'm not aware of the detail, but happy to take that on notice.
Okay. I then have a number of questions in relation to this that I will place on notice. In terms of the tweet of the photo, do you need to consult with the United States President or his office before posting such a photo?
Look, I can only... I'll try and assist a bit. I mean, counterparts post photos of engagements with me without seeking our approval. I wouldn't have... But I can check what the arrangement is. Would you mind checking? But generally, the photo gets taken and participants would publish their own.
That's fine. As I said, given that they're all being taken on notice, I will put the rest on notice. Chair, Senator O'Sullivan has a line of questioning that he would like to pursue.
Senator O'Sullivan.
Thank you, Chair. On the 13th of December, I wrote to the Prime Minister in relation to the member for Tangney sending a WhatsApp message to a group of community members and leaders, and I'll just table that letter. Was the letter received by the Prime Minister? Can someone confirm?
Have we got a copy of the letter?
It's a letter from me.
So it's a letter from you
to the Prime Minister.
To the PM?
Yes. So you'll be no doubt familiar with some media reporting in relation to a message that was sent from Mr Lim's phone from his WhatsApp account to community leaders and community members, where he quoted the Prime Minister as saying, when the PM was confronted by the Murdoch mercenaries and others, he said, Mr Netanyahu should consider that the bombing of a synagogue in Australia is likely the manifestation of a few despondent radicals who had enough of the continual aerial bombing of thousands of innocent children and women in Gaza by single-minded troops. No. Australia is a robust democracy. We do not encourage violence to those whom we do not warm to. If he continues to blame me and other world leaders, he might well be remembered in history as another hegemon who blamed everyone else for his crime against innocent civilians. Did the Prime Minister say this?
Well, it doesn't sound like him.
Well, I certainly hope he didn't, because it's essentially an apologist message for an offence that's been caused at a synagogue in Melbourne.
I haven't seen your letter, Senator. So I'm sorry. No.
Well, it was.
Earlier this morning, there's been media reporting. I tabled the media reports this morning.
Oh well, I'm sorry. I missed that.
Pass it to you. It does appear to be correspondence that was sent to the Prime Minister.
When was the correspondence sent?
The 13th of December.
Okay.
In 2023.
Well, can I just get some instructions on this? I don't have any advice on this.
We'll provide you a copy of it.
No, but
we can probably get a copy of the media article that was tabled this morning.
I'm sorry? The media?
There was media reporting on...
Well, I apologise, but I was at G20 and I came... I've only been back in the country briefly and I haven't caught up on all the media, Senator O'Sullivan, so I'm sorry if I haven't been across your... the media you've got on this, but I will get some information about this and come back to you.
So, as you'll see in the article that's before you there, Mr Lim sent a WhatsApp message to a group of people.
As I said, this is not the Prime Minister's language.
Okay, and that's fine. You're confirming that the Prime Minister did not say that.
I don't think the views or the language are him.
Okay.
So the issue therefore becomes, Senator Wong, what Senator O'Sullivan has read out, and when PM was confronted by the Murdoch mercenaries and others, he said, Sam Lim allegedly posted that in his chat group, and it was distributed to a number of people. The media then found out about it and raised certain issues, because clearly the issue does come up. Did Mr Lim put this into his chat group and the Prime Minister did say this, or Mr Lim has now stated is his phone was hacked. If his phone was hacked, that sets us down another course of action, and that's what we're trying to establish.
Right. Senator Cash, there are lots of different ways of having your phone hacked.
So,
Thank you, IT.
What's the question of me?
so I've got a line of questions. We're trying to ascertain. Mr Lim sent this message to a community group with a quote from the Prime Minister. You've just said that these are not the words from the Prime Minister. It's not the sort of thing the Prime Minister would say.
The views are not views I've ever heard him use. B, the language is not language I would associate with the Prime Minister.
But nonetheless, Mr Lim has sent this and said that it was the Prime Minister. Now, Mr Lim claims in the media article, when confronted by a journalist, that his phone was compromised and that it was hacked. Now, given that Mr Lim is a member of your government, what has the Prime Minister done to record, to correct the record?
I'll take that on notice.
But he also responded
Has the Prime Minister satisfied himself that Mr Lim's claim that his phone was hacked is indeed correct?
We will go for a break now, unless you want to be able to answer the question. Yeah.
Sorry,
I'm asking questions.
I'm not seeking to move us on. It's just that I
happy to
had
answer.
undertaken to go to the break and I forgot to take us there. So
Okay, well...
I'm happy to just try and finish this, Matt. I'll take that on notice. I mean, I don't know what's been said publicly about this at the time, other than what you've told me.
Minister, I did write to the Prime Minister on the 13th of December.
With respect, Senator, a lot of people write to the Prime Minister.
There's been media reporting in national media following a firebombing of a synagogue.
But
good grief.
This message has been sent days after, and it's been in the Australian, it's been in the Sydney Morning Herald, it's been in the
I'm pleased that
West
you read the
Australian.
Australian so much, Senator, but what is your question to me?
Well, we're trying to ascertain. My first question is: has the Prime Minister satisfied himself that his phone was hacked, as was claimed
the
by Mr Lim?
allegation is not that the Prime Minister's phone was hacked.
Mr Lim's phone.
Well,
So one of his members of Parliament is claiming that his phone was hacked.
Sure. Okay, I will take that on notice.
Can I just clarify some of the correspondence? Is this 30th of December 23, the letter we're referring to?
Sorry,
24.
I think it's incorrectly dated.
Yeah. Is it incorrect? Is it? Sorry, I just want
Is
to
that the correct date?
Was
Was
it the
it
same letter, or it's
13th of December 2023?
There's an incorrect date. You're right. It's the 2024.
Oh, right.
So you can't tell me whether or not Mr Lim's phone was hacked.
No, I'm saying I'll take. No, that wasn't your question to me.
Has the Prime Minister satisfied himself?
Your question to me was about the Prime Minister's knowledge or satisfaction about this, and I said I would take that on notice.
Have you seen reporting where Mr Lim was asked to clarify what was meant by Murdoch mercenaries and whether it was someone from Murdoch University? Mr Lim claimed nearly 6 hours later that it was the mainstream media. The curious thing is that the so-called PM quote was sent at 9:11 a.m. Then the clarifying message confirming that Murdoch mercenaries refers to mainstream media was sent at 3:10 p.m. and in no time was there any claim that this was a hack or that his phone had been compromised.
Sorry.
So, in other words, the conversation...
Senator Sullivan, I understand, it's an election and Sam Lim is an extraordinarily good local member, and I understand that the loss of the seat of Tangney last election was tough on the Western Australian Liberal Party and you want to get it back. I understand that. He's not appearing at these estimates. So I know you're really trying to get questions to me, which are really questions to Mr Lim, but he's not here at the table.
So did the Prime Minister say what Mr Lim said he said?
Well, I've just said I've just read this and I've said to you, these are neither his views nor the sorts of language he uses.
So one of his members, a
Mr.
member
Lim
of
said that
his
the message
government
was fabricated.
is
And
claiming
I
that
think,
he's,
I think
when
now that
confronted-
I've looked at this, I think Mr. Lim has said that the Prime Minister did not say those words. So I think it's been dealt with.
well, he's claiming that his phone was hacked. And so like a very serious matter, it's a very serious matter here. He's quoted the Prime Minister.
No.
I've pointed out, in the message he's quoted the Prime Minister, right? He's then subsequently saying that his phone was hacked. But that was only after journalists made an inquiry. He had conversation with people on this group following that initial quote from the Prime Minister. So at no time did he say, oh, my phone's been hacked. He continued in a conversation, and now that a journalist some time later asks some questions about it, he suddenly claims that his phone was hacked.
Is there any question that's relevant to the Prime Minister's portfolio in this?
I am yet to see one in this context, given...
I'm happy to ask some questions in relation to this.
Well, Senator Cash, are they relevant questions for the purpose of this estimates hearing?
Yes.
Okay, put the question and then we'll see.
She's chancing around anyway.
Minister Wong, given that Mr. Lim has claimed that his parliamentary phone has been hacked, and Senator O'Sullivan last year wrote to the Prime Minister, and I understand you have a copy of the letter in front of you.
I've just been given it, yes.
Yes. Has the Prime Minister received a briefing from the AFP about Mr. Lim's phone being hacked?
I'll take that on notice.
Okay.
But I would make the point that might not be the appropriate agency.
I can't hear you, sorry.
I said I'll take it on notice. I would make the point that it might not be the appropriate agency in these circumstances.
But this may not be the appropriate agency.
I will take on notice whether or not the Prime Minister has had a briefing from the AFP or any other relevant agency. Okay?
The issue is, if Mr. Lim's phone was hacked, that is a serious issue.
Well,
We have tried to find out whether or not it was hacked, or unfortunately Mr. Lim. If he made a mistake and put it into a chat group, that's all he needs to say. But Senator O'Sullivan has not yet received a response to his letter from the Prime Minister.
And nor have we seen any apology from Mr. Lim for the hurt that's been caused.
I understand that. I understand why people are again pursuing a political line of questioning. Mr. Lim, these estimates are not into Mr. Lim. These estimates are actually supposed to be for the purposes of additional estimates for the PM&C portfolio. I take a very liberal view, small L liberal view, liberal as in non-partisan view about questions associated with the operations of Prime Minister's portfolio. But this really is not, what Mr. Lim has said and done is not a matter for these estimates.
But it's about standards that the Prime Minister is prepared to accept.
Well,
So there's been a very hurtful and damaging, you'd have to say, inflammatory message has been sent from his phone. Now, he's claiming that his phone was hacked, but there's been no offer of any apology to the community. There were religious leaders, Jewish leaders that stood up and said that an apology must be given, yet there's been no response from either the Prime Minister or the member for Tangney. So why is the Prime Minister not demanding this of his member?
because it was unauthorised use of his account. That's the
Then my question is, has the Prime Minister then satisfied himself that his phone was in fact hacked? Or is he just claiming that it's hacked because it's convenient to do so?
Right.
I mean, my dog ate my homework. That's what it sounds like.
These questions are very close, like, I cannot see how they are relevant to this Senate estimates.
Can I just get some clarity? So, Senator, we don't have a copy of this letter in our system, and our DLOs don't recognise the letter. How was it sent?
Well, it would have been sent by email to the Prime Minister.
You didn't tweet it by chance?
No?
Okay,
No,
so
I'm just.
Senator,
was it sent on the 13th of December, or is there another date that you?
13th of December 2024.
Okay.
Not 23.
I'll follow. I will take this. I'll take it on notice, Senator, and see if there's a reply.
And regardless, it's been reported in national media across multiple outlets that this message was sent, and serious concern was raised by national leaders in the Jewish community concerned about the content of this message and whether or not, in fact, the Prime Minister sent it. Now, as you've said, in that article it says that the Prime Minister, that Sam Lynn says it wasn't the Prime Minister, but there's still questions remaining as to who actually fabricated this message.
Well, I don't know where this... I can't answer these questions, Senator.
So
And nor can the department. So I understand you want to make a political point, but these are not matters that we can assist you with.
Okay, we'll now move to the afternoon tea break and hopefully...
Can I just ask one more question?
Well, is it in order? As in order as the others? Senator O'Sullivan.
So,
As long as we come back a few minutes later.
Yeah.
I'll keep it brief.
Senator
A
O'Sullivan.
Labor MP claims that his phone has been hacked to misrepresent the Prime Minister. Isn't the Prime Minister interested in whether or not this is the case?
Well, Senator, if it's a law enforcement or question, you know, we have faith in our law enforcement authorities and our security agencies. And that's why we take their advice.
Thank you. We'll break for afternoon tea and we will return at 4:40. 4:40.